A pleasant good afternoon to you and welcome to your main newscast right here on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. In our headlines this afternoon, ExxonMobil at full speed with replaced gas compressor. Guyana surpasses 50,000 vaccination in COVID-19 immunizations campaign, but records highest number of infections in 24 hours. Exxon contracted to deny sideline Guyanese suppliers, says the majority of pre-approved companies are local. Missing youth found floating in creek, and Guyana flagged for untimely follow-ups on Auditor General's findings, according to the IDB report. And also when we come back, we'll give you the front page comment. We will support a comprehensive positive gas to shore study. These and more when the news returns.
Introducing the new Digital Prime bundles. Better than anything we've ever offered before. More music on D-Music. More messaging on BIP. More radio streaming on Go Loud. More storage on Bello. More control on My Digital app. With the new Digital Prime bundles, it's never been easier to get more digital experiences. Plus, extra data. Get 30 gigabytes with a 7-day Prime bundle for only $2,000. So much data, so much fun. Buy in My Digital app today. Digital, better together.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us right here on Kaieteur Radio 99.5, 99.1 and 99.5 FM respectively. Before I bring to you your news package, let me bring to you the front page comment of the Kaieteur News that is titled, "We will support a comprehensive positive gas to shore study." We are pleased that other members of the media and private individuals are adding their voices to our call for studies to be conducted to determine the feasibility of the proposed gas to shore project. We insist that independent and in-depth studies by trusted sources must be done to ensure that this costly investment is viable. It will result in benefits for our people and will not plunge us into further debt. It is not good enough for government leaders to dictate that the project is acceptable because they think so. This project must move forward on the basis of sound financial, technical, and environmental assessments. It must not move forward simply because Mr. David Patterson or Mr. Bharath Jagir believes that the project is viable in the absence of necessary studies being done. Not only with a mega project costing billions. We urge President Ali to commission a comprehensive feasibility study to be undertaken by widely recognized and respected experts. There can hardly be any credible objections to such an undertaking. Once an independent, credible, and comprehensive study of the project is undertaken, Kaieteur News and Kaieteur Radio is prepared to assess the findings of that studies, and once we find these satisfactory and agreeable, we are prepared to be the project's cheerleader. You can get to read the front page comment for yourself in today's Kaieteur News by simply picking up a copy at a newsstand near you or head across to our website at kaieteurnewsonline.com. And with that, we begin your news package for your Friday, April 9th news afternoon. Once again, I am Joshua Van Slegman. Thank you for joining us. Operator of the Stabroek block, ExxonMobil Guyana, says it has completed the re-installation of the required and upgraded components of the flash gas compressing system. On board the Eliza Destiny floating production, storage and offloading FPSO vessel, and is currently involved in monitoring the performance of the machine closely in a normal steady state operation. This, according to the U.S. oil major, is an update yesterday in which it also noted that the monitoring of the resumed operations at the FPSO represents the third and final phase of its testing program, following the installation of the repaired compressor. The operator said that pilot level flaring was attained during the testing and significant volume of process and mechanical data was collected. It was noted too that over the last few days, the team successfully completed the first two phases, which were intended to verify the effectiveness of the modifications to the equipment and control system logic. The resumption of operations for monitoring takes place this week after removal of temporary instrument, according to the oil major. The company has since committed to providing an additional update on the operations early next week. Former Minister of Health and current advisor to the Ministry of Health, Dr. Leslie Ramsamy, yesterday announced that Guyana has surpassed 50,000 vaccinations in the government's ongoing COVID-19 immunization campaign. In a Facebook post, Dr. Ramsamy noted, and I quote, It is still a far way to go, but it's an important milestone. 31 countries around the world have not yet administered a single dose." End quote. He added that Barbados is the only Caribbean country ahead of Guyana in its immunization campaign with over 60,000 persons. He predicted that by this time next week, Guyana will rank number 1 in the Caribbean CARICOM for COVID-19 vaccination. This means that 10 out of every 100 Guyanese adults will have received a first dose. This put Guyana ahead of most countries around the world. We want to ensure that we vaccinate another 100,000 by the end of April. Help us, he also expressed. We tell you now that SBM Offshore, the Dutch floater specialist and ExxonMobil Tier 1 contractor for a number of floating production, storage and offloading FPSO vessels destined for the Stabroek Block, is refuting claims of discrimination being leveled against it, to say that the majority of companies that it has pre-approved for its next round of contracts are Guyanese owned. The company had come under fire after a local businessman complained of being sidelined for want of experience in the supply of personal protective equipment, such as safety vests, gloves, and helmets. According to SBM in a release on Thursday, close to 30 companies recently submitted expression of interest for the provision of PPPEs for the company's operation in Guyana, and that of the companies selected for the next round by SBM Offshore, the majority are Guyanese owned, in whole or in a part. The company noted that the bid process includes the application of criteria that, among other factors, take into account the information and supporting documentation provided, and that this is essential to assess the overall capabilities of the bidders and to ensure that they meet the quality and standards required for provision of the services. We tell you now that days after a 20-year-old pork knocker went missing, his body was yesterday morning found floating in a creek. Dead is Avinash Fernandes of Mabaruma Kampong, Region 1. The Guyana Police Force yesterday around 7 hours reported that the youth missing and that he was last seen on April 5th at 21 hours at a campsite situated at 13 Miles Trail, Northwest District. However, hours after the Guyana Police Force reported Fernandes missing, his sister in a Facebook post stated that she was praying for her brother to return home safe and alive. The post further stated that she received a phone call from her mother later in the morning, who told her the tragic news that her brother was found dead. A recent Inter-American Development Bank report titled Economic Institution for a Resilient Caribbean has revealed that Guyana is among some Caribbean countries that failed to show systematic and timely follow-ups on Auditor General findings. The other countries flagged were the Bahamas, Jamaica, Suriname, and Trinidad and Tobago. Guyana's Audit Office scrutinizes the expenditure of public funds on behalf of Parliament by conducting financial audits of all publicly funded entities such as government ministries, donor fund entities, local government agencies, and trade unions. The report highlighted a fundamental point, stating that the effectiveness of the parliamentary budget oversight is constrained by the limited time allocated to that function, which is also an issue in Guyana, and the review are based on estimates that are not finalized and are undertaken when the changes are no longer possible. This is your main newscast right here on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. When we return, traffic cop takes busload to station because of maskless driver. Woman who knifed ex-boyfriend to death gets murder charge. And a man in waitress arrested after bar robbery. Jail time, heavy fines a must for local content defaulters. Legislation must apply across extractive industry sector, according to Tucker. Sapphire man arrested for Port-Drying restaurant, remanded for another robbery. Successful vaccine rollout in Region 10 damped by rising concerns and complacent public attitude. Stay with us.
Power Fridays. This is where we feel the rush, the adrenaline, the power on Power Friday. Get your party cups and get ready to turn the knobs all the way up every Friday night at 9 o'clock. Power Fridays with me, DJ Viper. We're getting ready for the weekend.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us right here on Kaieteur Radio. 2 cops yesterday took a busload of passengers to the Eve Leary traffic headquarters because of a maskless driver. One of the passengers, a Kaieteur News reporter, recalled that the Route 44 bus was taken to the headquarters sometime around 14 hours 40. The driver had stopped to pick up another passenger in front of Queen's College on Cam Street when 2 traffic ranks in a patrol car pulled up beside him. One of the ranks stepped out, approached the driver, and cautioned him before ordering him to drive to the station. The driver begged the officers to drop off his passengers first and then return, but the cop refused. According to the COVID-19 measures and guidelines, wearing a face mask in public is mandatory. Citizens failing to wear a face mask can be fined or even placed in the lockups. The woman who allegedly knifed her ex-boyfriend to death last Thursday, April 1st, was yesterday remanded to the New Amsterdam prison until May 18th. The defendant, 27-year-old Eva Pearson, appeared at the Sparendam Magistrates Court and was charged with murder by Magistrate Alicia George. It is alleged that on April 1st, she stabbed her ex-boyfriend, 46-year-old Darren Harris, to death at School Street, Sophia. Pearson was not required to plead to the indictable charge. According to reports, Pearson stabbed Harris around 21 hours 30 during a scuffle. The woman has since admitted killing her ex-boyfriend to the police, claiming that she stabbed him in self-defense. A man and a waitress are now in custody after they are suspected to be a part of a bar robbery. According to a police report, the robbery occurred last Wednesday around 20 hours 25 at Sita Bar, Block CC Monrepo, East Coast, Demerara. The report further stated that an eyewitness and other persons were in the bar when he observed the waitress talking to a man. The eyewitnesses told the police that about 5 minutes later, he noticed the man going back to the waitress, collecting her cell phone, and continued talking to her. According to what the witness told the police, a man with a black hoodie, fully masked and armed with a firearm, ran into the bar. It is reported that 2 others, also clad in hoodies and fully masked, entered the bar shortly after, armed with cutlasses. According to the police, during the ordeal, no shots were fired and no one was injured. The matter was reported, and subsequently the waitress and the man who was talking to her were both contacted by the police and placed in custody at the Bedford Police Station, East Coast, Demerara. A search was conducted on both suspects and homes, but nothing of evidence value was found. The investigation into the alleged robbery under arms is ongoing. The Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industries, GCCI, recently minted President Timothy Tucker is calling on the ruling administration to put in place not just a local content policy, but firm legislations to punish defaulted companies. Legislations to be applied across the extractive industries. This could be done in a phased approach, since priority should be given to the emerging oil and gas sector. Tucker gave his view as the new GCCI president on Wednesday during a Globespan 24/7 discussion on local content and Guyana's business development, moderated by Richard Ramburan. The newly elected GCCI president, elected on Saturday last, in discussion with the moderator, said that there must have consequences for when players are not adhering to local content guidelines, and use as example companies that are trying to hook wind the nation by having rent a citizen type scenario. He noted too that there is a need to have tough legislation in place for instances where companies outright refuse to adhere to a local policy, and said there must have repercussions in place for such scenarios. The 22-year-old Beefields fireman who was arrested in relation to the $1 million carried out on two men dining at the Port Joint restaurant last Saturday was on Wednesday remanded to prison for another robbery. The defendant, Christopher Kernet, a close vendor of Lot 830 Beefields Sophia, Georgetown, appeared before Principal Magistrate Faith McGusty in the Wales Magistrate Court, when the robbery on the armed charge was read to him. He was not required to plead to the charge, which alleged on March 30, 2021, at Good Fortune, West Bank, Demerara, while being armed with a dangerous weapon, he robbed Dio Chan. Principal Magistrate McGusty remanded Kernet to prison, and the matter was adjourned to April 22, 2021. Kaieteur Radio had reported last Monday that Kernet was arrested for allegedly robbing Navindra Koblal, 34, a boat captain of Lagrange Old Road, West Bank, Demerara, and Leon Dilal, 33, a sales representative of Aaron Street, Good Fortune, West Bank, Demerara, of millions of dollars in items. Kernet is expected to appear in court on Monday, April 12, 2021, at the Vreeden Hope Magistrates Court for the alleged robbing. More news after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. Though the COVID-19 vaccination rollout in Region 10 has been deemed successful by regional health officials, there continues to be growing concern about the rise in cases and the complacent attitude which the residents are displaying. Presently, the region has 52 active cases, including Regional Chairman Deron Adams. Regional Health Officer Dr. Gregory Harris said that there has been a rapid increase over the last week, as well as increase in deaths. Despite proactive measures are being taken to control the spread of the virus in Region 10 by the Regional COVID-19 Task Force, residents continue to breach the guidelines, particularly by assembling in large gatherings. There have been reports of several parties, particularly on the Wisma shore. 2 weeks ago, 2 Ghana Defense Force ranks were attacked and beaten at a party in Block 22. Persons continue to be charged weekly for breaching the COVID-19 protocols. On a Tuesday, 8 persons were charged for breaching the COVID-19 protocols over the Easter weekend. They are Jermaine Peters, Sean Bizet, Nicola George, Jacob Williams, Leonard Richards, Dexter Armstrong, Kester Green, and Raylon Adolph. They appeared at the Linden Magistrates Court before Magistrate Wanda Fortune and were fined to 20 hours of community service or 1 month imprisonment. It is 12 hours 20 in Guyana and right across the Eastern Caribbean. Let's bring to you your COVID-19 updates. According to Worldometer, your COVID-19 cases worldwide stands at 134.8 million, with 809 million deaths and 108.5 million recoveries. And with that, we've come to the end of your morning newscast right here on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. Let's remind you that you can get the full details of these stories and much more by picking up a copy of the Kaieteur News at a newsstand near you, or head across to our website at kaieteurnewsonline.com. I'm Joshua Van Sleckman. Thank you for joining us. Coming up after the break is the National Outlook with GHK Lal.
Good morning. GHK Lal on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
This is GHK Lal, inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues, immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.